Hey, how you doing? Hope you're going good. I've got a little 10 to 15 minute animal flow video for you, little session. So it's going to involve a little warm up and then we're going to demonstrate a flow and then break the flow down and then rep it out a few times at the end and see if you can follow along. So if you feel like that you need a little bit more warm up, so obviously pause the video and do a little bit more, because I'm going to try and keep it between 10 and 15 minutes just so it's a little bit of a quicker version to get through. So I'm going to start with some wrist, so bringing the hands together, folding the fingers over. I'm going to gently start rolling one hand over the other and just start bringing a little bit of movement into the wrist first. So we won't spend as long as I typically do on warming up. Okay, and then from there go back in the opposite direction. It's a good chance to connect to your breath. Okay, and then from there go into some wrist waves, so keeping the fingers together, palms are facing down. Starting with one elbow, just roll, imagine there's a wave rolling through the wrists. So we're just going to do a couple on each side, or 3 or 4 on each side. And go back in the opposite direction. Okay, and then from there, we're going to go into the wrist relief position. So anytime throughout the video, you feel like you need to just rest the wrists a bit, it's obviously, you can just take a little break, go into this position, and that should take the pressure off. Okay, so I'm going to set up in my beast position. I'm going to just start doing some wrist, a little bit more on the wrist now. So spreading the fingers apart as wide as you can. So my arms or my hands want to be underneath my shoulders. So it's a good opportunity now to tuck the toes under. And then I'm going to keep my arms corkscrewed or straight, so my biceps are facing forward. And from there, I'm going to just slowly start loading the wrists, nice and gentle for a start, and rocking backwards and forwards. So this is just loading the shoulders a little bit and loading the wrists a little bit. So it's a good way you can connect to your breath in this position. So also by sitting back on the heels, it's loading the toes a little bit as well. So I can load in the toes and then load in the wrists and the shoulders. So I'll do one more. Spread them fingers out, go a little bit further. Hold that position. And then from there, coming back, and we're just going to do a few circles in each direction. Doesn't matter which way you go. So I want to be thinking about just doing the biggest circle you can. And that's going to allow us to load the wrists in some different directions. So nice and slowly, keeping the arms straight. We'll do one more, and then we'll switch. So switch direction. Nice and slow. Okay, then we're going to go into some, so it's keeping in the same position. Want to be thinking about our shoulder blades now, so I'm going to push the ground away, so I'm pushing into the ground and I want to be spreading my shoulder blades apart. So I'm really pushing into the ground now, so I'm trying to keep my back in roughly a neutral position and my neck's in a neutral position. And then from there I'm going to pull my chest towards the floor, or imagine that I'm pulling my chest towards the floor and then I'm squeezing my shoulder blades apart at the top. And then from there, pushing into the ground nice and slowly, all the way up as far as my shoulders will spread apart. And then one more coming down, so pulling the chest towards the ground, squeezing, like we're squeezing something between the back of our shoulder blades. And then one more to the top, all the way up. Spread them shoulder blades apart. And from there you can give the wrist a little shake, go into the wrist relief position, give the wrist a little break. I'm going to move on, so just going to do a little bit more warming up and then we'll get into it. So again, I'm setting up in this position. I'm just going to do a little bit of spine flexion and extension. So from there, my toes are tucked under again. I'm in my beast position, knees roughly under my belly button and shoulders and hands at the same distance. And then from there, I'm going to drive or round the spine, tuck the chin, really drive the ground away and really try and round my spine. Hold that position. And then from there, I'm going to keep my arms driving into the floor, but I'm trying to lower my belly towards the floor. I'm trying to go into extension, but I'm trying to keep them shoulder blades pushing into the spread and pushing into the floor. So all the way until my chin is towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do one in each direction again. So again, I'm rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the pelvis under, and pushing that ground away. One more back. So I'm still pushing the ground away, rounding the spine in the opposite direction. I'm going into extension, but I want to push that ground away at the same time. And then from there, again, I can shake my wrists out a little bit, go into the wrist relief position. So I'm just going to do one more movement and then we'll get into it. So I'm going to sit my heels, or sit back onto my heels. My knees are slightly pointing out. I'm going to slide my hands forward. I'm going to do what's called just a variation of a wave and load. Okay, so from there, I'm going to start shifting my weight forward, rounding my spine a little. As soon as my hips pass over my knees, I'm going to bring my feet, push my heels together, keep pushing into the ground, slowly let my belly fall towards the floor. I'm still pushing into the ground, straight arms, let my head come towards the ceiling and I'm pulling my heels in as far as I can. And then to come back, I'm going to tuck my chin, push that, drive that ground away, all the way back into my loaded beast position. Cool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate the flow. That's how I want to keep it around 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to demonstrate it, and then we'll break it down, go through it a couple of times on each side, and then at the end we'll rep it out a couple of times, see if you can follow along, and then you're free to do it as many times as you want after that. So I'm going to demonstrate it first. Okay, so it's pretty snazzy, pretty quick, but like I say, at the end we can rep it out a little bit and it starts to accumulate. So, the first position what we're going to be in is a ape position, which is just a deep squat, or your best deep squat you've got. So, and then from there we're going to go into what's called an ape reach. So we're going to turn the palms of the hands away, bring the hands together, thumbs are pointing down, bringing the arms as close as we can towards the floor. I'm trying to get my arms between my shoulders, and I'm going to tuck my chin and squeeze my arms together and really squeeze. That's my ape reach. And then to open, I'm going to initiate my energy forward. So I'm going to try and get my heels off the floor. At the same time, I'm going to start rotating my arms to get my palms so they're facing up towards the ceiling, at the same time as driving my knees out and pushing into the ground with my legs. So I want to be in a nice tall position, so I don't want my arms too far behind, roughly in line, and palms facing up, and feeling like my arms are being pulled, so I'm trying to create space within my shoulders. So it's a nice dynamic movement, and then from there, I'm going to bring the arms, I'm keeping my heels off the floor, arms into front of me, which it would be like a frog position, and then I'm going to drive my hips back, so I'm pushing, driving my hips back into my loaded beast. So in my loaded beast, I want my knees driving out, tension in the belly, shrugging my shoulders. That's my loaded beast. And then my first move from there is going to be a right leg front kick through. So I'm going to jump onto the left leg, take my right leg kick through, guards inside, and then from there, I'm going to go nice and slowly on this one, just so you can see it. I'm going to retract the leg forcefully at the same time as I'm going to put my hand down, and then in this position, I'm going to drive that leg, what's on the floor, back, so I can go into my front step. Okay, so I'll do that again. So from my front kick through position, my guard's inside, I'm going to forcefully retract my leg. This hand goes down on the floor. This hand's going to move for this leg, going into my front step, and this leg, my left leg, is going to drive back as far as it can go. So from there, retract, driving into that front step position. Okay. And from there, it's going to be a through, so I'm going to bring my arm inside, bring the left leg through the window, take my front step through, and from there again, I'm going to drive that leg back, but then I'm going to put both arms down, I'm going to push back into my 8 position. So as that leg's coming back, push, and I end up back in my 8, and I'm ready to go again. So we'll do that nice and slowly on each side, and then I'm going to do twice on each side, see if you can follow along. So from there, I've set 8 reach. So arms together, open. So I'm squeezing, arms are coming out. From there, pop back, loaded beast, get my loaded beast position. From there, right leg front kick through, so jump to my kick through position, guards inside. Now I'm going to jump to right leg, front step, nice powerful movement. And from there, bring the guard inside, take my front step through, and from there, drive that leg back, push, and I end up back in my 8 position. And now I can go again. So 8 reach, open. So I should have enough room, so I'm going to pop back into my loaded beast. Now I'm going to do a left leg front step, left leg front kick through. Now I'm going to jump to left leg front step, through. And from there, I'm going to pop back into my 8 position. Okay, so what I'm going to do is twice on each side, but I'll go left, right, and then that should be the end of the video. So, see if you can follow along. So set 8 reach, open, pop back to loaded beast, right leg front kick through, jump to, right leg front step, through, pop back to 8 reach, open, pop back to loaded beast, left leg front kick through, jump to, left leg front step, through, pop back to 8. Okay, I'm just going to transition forward a little bit and go again. So 8 reach, open, pop back to loaded beast, right leg front kick through, jump to, right leg front step, through, pop back to 8 reach, open, pop back to loaded beast, left leg front kick through, jump to, left leg front step, through, pop back to 8. That's awesome. So, hope you enjoyed that little that little flow, or kind of a nice combination working together, little 10 to 15 minute class. Hope you enjoyed it, so feel free to carry on or calm down using the breath. So maybe bring some wrist mobility back in, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers.